Hey everyone, I'm Lucy, your host for Start the Conversation, a series dedicated to shining a light on building the future of your community with neurodiversity in mind. Each episode will bring you conversations with inspiring individuals who are making a significant impact in their fields, from neurodiversity in sports to creating inclusive work environments. Our aim is to educate, inspire, and empower our listeners to make a difference. So sit back, relax, and join us as we start the conversation. Hey there, welcome to Start the Conversation. In this episode, we're sharing a mentoring story, not from a professional perspective today, but from lived experience. You'll hear from Lucy, a neurodivergent young adult, talking openly about anxiety, autistic burnout, leaving education, and slowly rebuilding confidence, one step at a time. This is a conversation about safety, about trust, routines, about puzzles, Pokemon, and even rocks, and what it really looks like when support is shaped around a person, rather than expecting a person to fit a system. It's honest, it's gentle, and it reflects the realities many neurodivergent young adults face when navigating education, work, and what comes next. Let's start that conversation. Take it away, Becca and Lucy.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our podcast episode about our support agency, namely our mentoring series. My name is Becca, I'm our mentor here at Inclusive Change, and I'm joined today by our lovely client, Lucy. Lucy, hello, and welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm alright. Yeah.
Feeling a little bit nervous?
A little bit.
Yeah. I think it's understandable. It happens to the best of us, right? Today, we are going to be talking about your experience mentoring with us. This will be a chance for you to tell us about yourself, what led you to mentoring, and what you've got out of it as well. How does that all sound?
Yeah, that's good.
Stuff. Cool. So, I know you quite well because we've been working together for nearly a year now. But for those listening who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Lucy, 19 years old, from Bristol. And I really like Pokemon and video games, and rocks.
Yep, I love that. Can you tell everybody the advent calendar you got this year and tell us a bit about that?
I got a National Geographic one with a bunch of rocks in it.
Which personally, I listened to that and I thought, rock? As in like, because my brain went to the candy rock, you know, that you get when you go to the beach.
No, proper rocks.
Yeah, proper rocks, not that hard candy rubbish that breaks your teeth and stuff. And now I know, because you've told me before, that you've got a collection of some specific rocks that are quite precious. Can you talk to us about that?
When I say rocks, that's generally what I mean. But I mean, I do have some just plain old rocks. But just like the little ones you get in gift shops and you get a little bag and you fill it for £5. I love those. They're my favourite.
Pretty ones.
I have 4 tiger's eyes. They're the only ones that I can really identify reliably.
What did tiger's eyes look like?
It's more just like a orangey brown and orange.
Yeah, like it's been, like you can tell it's like been underground for a long time because of the colouring. It's probably worth me flashing up a picture on the screen for people that are listening. Lucy is showing me pictures of tiger's eyes and they are really pretty. They kind of look like amber, don't they? Like stripy amber.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
They're
really
pretty
beautiful.
common. You see them around quite a lot.
Do people use tiger's eyes to make like jewellery as well?
I would assume so.
Yeah, I could be getting that mixed up with amber.
I mean, I'm not a jewellery person. I just like the rocks.
You just like collecting them and having them.
Something I'm in a mug.
Something I did forget to ask, and I apologise for this because we talked about Pokemon and indie games. What are your favourite video games?
My favourite game of all time is Undertale because it's a masterpiece. My favourite Pokemon game is Sun and Moon. Because they're just the best. And anyone who thinks otherwise is incorrect.
We've talked about this before, haven't we? Because there's definitely like a generational divide between...
Yeah, with Pokemon it's very much... I mean, just in general, it's very divisive to what game is the best, what generation is the best. It tends to be the one you grew up with, which isn't really necessarily the case for me. because the first games I played were Generation 4, and then when I properly got into the games, it was Generation 6. Mm-hmm. Generation 7 is my favourite.
What's your favourite fighting type of Pokemon? Is it called fighting type? You know, like
just
the
types
of Pokemon, yeah.
Fighting is a type.
That's very true.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Grass types are my favourite. I love them all. They're all fantastic. Even if they aren't necessarily the strongest, because they have a lot of weaknesses, I just think that they have the best designs. Yeah.
Is it that they have a lot of weaknesses, or is it that they are surrounded by Pokemon that are more easily able to overpower them?
I would say it is that they, generally speaking, have quite a lot more weaknesses compared to the average type, I would say. I can think of, but probably more, I'm going to be honest.
I mean, to be fair, like, they've gone on with that.
I mean,
like
I can
700
say,
now.
there's over 1,000.
Huh. Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, there's over 1,000 Pokemon.
That's a lot more than the original 250 that I remember.
151 is the original number.
That's it, thank you. Dyscalculia kicking in. Like, let's just swap that out. I might be thinking of Johto.
252, that's my favourite Pokemon's Pokedex number. That's Trico. Johto added 100 Pokemon.
That is it. It was Kanto, Johto, and then we've gone on to like Gen 4, 5, 6. Like, oh my god, there's just so many now.
We're on Gen 9 at the moment.
Man.
We're almost on the 10th generation.
See, I know that we've talked about this before, and I'm conscious we're slipping off track ever so slightly, but like, yeah, I'm from the generation that played the Game Boy games growing up, and that was the first ever like Pocket Monster Pokemon thing that ever came out.
Because it's the origin. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like the 30th anniversary next year. And
the idea being that the Game Boy came out at the same time because you could put them both in your pocket. They were both pocket handheld things, which personally I think is really cool. 1996 for anyone who's interested.
Yeah, it's crazy to me because when I was, Sun and Moon era was 20th anniversary.
Oh.
And it's been like 10 years since then.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Like, I remember going to game and getting the codes for all the mythical Pokemon every month.
So, if for any sharp-eared listeners out there, Lucy has pretty much just exposed that I was born in the 90s. I digress. So, Lucy, we've been working together for about a year now, right? Back in 2020. It was March 2025, right?
Yeah, earlier this year, it was around that time, yeah.
Can you describe why you came to us for mentoring?
Yeah, well, I had a pretty rough end of my school experience. I was fine up until COVID, which was mid-year 9 for me. And then once we came out of lockdown, I'd always been an anxious person, but my anxiety got a lot worse after. And then eventually I dropped a lesson in year 11. And a bit later on into the year, I had COVID, was off for a week, and just couldn't get back into school. So I had a lot of struggles with that. Was able to do my GCSEs, which I don't think anybody expected. So, that was, we worked through that, we managed. And then I went to post-16, and it was a whole different story. I ended up dropping out of 2 of my 3 subjects. I managed reasonably okay with the 3rd one. I was pretty depressed, but, I was able to get in for most of my lessons. And then one of the teachers left, and they were going to merge our class with another class at a different school. And, I never got in for the 2nd year. So, yeah.
Time for you, school-wise, wasn't it?
It was, I mean, the moment the teacher said, it was probably like a month or 2 before the end of the first year of post-16, said, the other teacher is leaving, we're going to combine with the other class. I knew then, that's it, I'm not going to get in. I'm not going to be able to. I gave it a try anyway, but I mean, I already knew.
So if we fast forward a little bit to, was it in 2023 that you were diagnosed as autistic?
Yeah, early January, probably like the 6th of January, I got my diagnosis. Went through like the process of getting assessed in the December of 2022.
Yeah.
Which we kind of already knew at that point, but it was like just getting the diagnosis and having the confirmation. It was a massive relief.
Yeah.
even if it didn't really have too much of an effect on how school was going for me.
I'm really glad you spoke about that relief, because that's what a lot of us feel, I think, when we get our diagnosis. And even then, you know, I know a lot of people listening might not be at that stage where they're able to access diagnosis right now. So I just wanted to say that for anyone listening, I personally think that self-diagnosis is valid.
I'm a massive advocate for self-diagnosis because I was self-diagnosed for quite a while before I got my diagnosis. And that was what helped me sort of, you know, get to learn what helps me. And honestly, if I hadn't been like, hey, I think I'm autistic, I never would have gotten a diagnosis, because, you know, it was that realization that made me realize, oh, maybe I'm not like everybody else, you know? I would have never gone to go get assessed for anything if I hadn't self-diagnosed.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important to say that, right? Because a lot of people listening might be waiting.
It's hard. The waiting list is huge. I went private. We went private because the waiting list was massive. Yeah. And I remember they changed it so there was like be priority for like and for like severe cases or something, or like having a severe effect. And I was like, well, I don't classify as that apparently, but surely the fact that I'm not able to go to school would be severely affected. But you know, it's the waiting list is so long, and going private isn't easy because it's expensive. So not everybody can.
Definitely, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, self-diagnosis is a very useful tool as long as you make sure you do the proper research. I think it's something that is good.
100%, yeah.
I mean, everybody self-diagnoses themselves with a common cold, don't they? So.
That's very true. You know, we've got the indicators and the factors around us to be able to go, do you know what? I've got a runny nose, got itchy eyes, I've probably got a cold. I resonate a lot with what you said, because when I got my ADHD diagnosis, I felt like I suddenly had a language for why I always felt different to other people.
Yeah, it was sort of like, I knew I was autistic before I got the diagnosis. But I guess there's always that part of you that because it isn't official, you're always like, well, it could be something else. And I was like, well, I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah.
But it was sort of like, you know, I don't want to rule anything else out. I don't want to say for 100% certain. So it was kind of just that like, ooh, I don't need to worry about it being anything else. It's over. We figured it out.
Woo!
Now we could go on about actually, you know, solving the problems I'm having.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you said solving problems you were having, because it's not about fixing being autistic or being neurodivergent, right? And I think that for a lot of people, there is that kind of expectation, especially for people sort of maybe my age bracket or above. Like I know that I went into my diagnosis journey once I got that diagnosis of being like, okay, well now I can figure out ways to like fix my brain. And that A, was setting me up for failure, and B, it's very unrealistic, because you can't just go in and fix a brain, you know, and even if you could, would you want to, ethically? Yeah,
that's I mean, even if there was like a cure, quote unquote, which is never going to be possible, it's just not possible, but if there magically was, I don't think I'd take it, because I don't really know who I'd be a completely different person, and that's scary.
Yeah, also, like, would you like Undertale still? Would you
exactly,
like Elden Ring,
that's the thing. I've spent so much money in my life on Pokemon things, and if I just become not autistic and I no longer have that fixation on it, what am I supposed to do? I can never get rid of it. It's everywhere.
There's Pokemon everywhere, and basically what you're saying is it would be just an inconvenient, like,
well,
thing.
if I wasn't able to be so obsessed with it, it would drive me mad.
Yeah.
Because I had pink walls in my bedroom for the longest time, and it drove me mad because I didn't like the colour pink.
Yeah.
It would just be like that, except there wouldn't ever be just paint a different colour eventually. Because I would just keep finding Pokemon stuff, no matter how hard I tried.
Where did all this Pokemon stuff come from? Yeah, yeah, that would be really... I guess the point we're trying to make is like, it's about, you know, obviously you can't change your brain, but one of the things, or some of the things that we're going to talk about are things that can help and that can be, you know, like a gateway, because that's essentially what we've done with mentoring. It's like we've helped you kind of build up skills and experience and things that you didn't necessarily have access to before. So when we started our early mentoring sessions, what stood out to you or made you feel more at ease?
Sorry, I have to think back now. It was
That's
so
okay.
long ago.
It's all good. Take you back in time. It was March 2025.
It was mostly just that I didn't necessarily have to explain my needs. It was just sort of like understood, and I didn't feel like I had to justify things. That's not really the right word, but like, explain why I have certain needs and stuff.
So would it be fair to say that you felt safe being able to be yourself?
I didn't really have to put in the extra effort that you usually have to do, of like being like, hey, I'm autistic, these are my sensory difficulties, these are, other things that I struggle with, blah blah blah. It was sort of just like I could say, oh, that smell really bothers me or something, and it would just automatically be like, ah yeah, that makes sense. And that's just so much nicer. It's so exhausting having to explain everything every single time.
Yeah. And part of that is, I think, how we set up sessions originally was that I don't know if you remember this, but when we first started speaking, it was very much about building that initial foundation relationship, right? Because although this is a professional relationship in terms of managing boundaries, etc., it's still important that there's trust there. And
yeah, definitely.
Because trust is what helps you build that psychological safety, and it's also what helps you be able to unmask as well, because what you've just said there, Lucy, is quintessential masking experience of just being like, okay, I have to tell people stuff that actually I don't really want to go through every single day, and I might not have the energy to talk every single day. That
then leads to you not necessarily doing it and just sort of suffering for no reason.
Yeah, and it means that you get stuck in that cycle that we've talked about before of just like, well, I could stay in my room because that's where I feel the safest, and etc. Yeah, and it's tough. It's really tough. But I mean, you were fantastic.
The first session we had is I brought in a puzzle and we just did a puzzle.
I can see
that was great. I loved it.
I was going to say, like, literally, like Lucy's just sat up in her chair and she's like, puzzles.
I love puzzles. Actually, my dad did say to me that we were meant to, on Sunday, sort through my puzzles and get rid of stuff, but he forgot about it, so I get to keep them all now.
Is it worth telling our listeners that this is a project that's been ongoing for...
Oh yeah,
since I've met you.
They've been trying to get me to get rid of some of my puzzles for so long.
Yeah, but maybe we move the goal from getting rid of puzzles to putting one outside your door. That's something we could talk about later.
Well, it's mainly like we probably end up like donating them to a charity shop, which is where I get most of them from.
Yeah,
and I like that idea, but at the same time, they're my puzzles.
Yeah, 100%. And also, like, it's like
I want them.
Yeah, it's also like what you've just said there kind of speaks a lot to overwhelm, I think, because like you probably think, I've got to get rid of my puzzles. Oh my god, I have to do this all at once and make this huge decision about all of these puzzles. When actually,
I think it doesn't. I mean, the reason we need to get rid of them is because I have so many. But I have so many, so it's hard to go through them. And also, I like them. I don't want to get rid of any of them.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Like, they make you happy.
They do take up so much space.
If your parents are listening to this, Joe, Kenny, I'm sorry that we are putting Lucy off sorting her puzzles out even more. I'm an advocate for, keeping stuff around.
Keeping my jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah. See,
let me have all of them.
Earlier how we were talking about books and stationery and how, like, we both like stationery but we'll buy it and then just never use it again.
Yes.
Yeah, so your equivalent of puzzles is my equivalent of your puzzles is notebooks and books.
Yeah, I used to be very much a buy notebooks and never use them type of person. But then again, I have a lot of like collections. I like collecting things.
Yep.
I have so many. And going back to the rocks, that was sort of like the gateway into collecting things.
Yeah, and it makes you happy, right?
Oh, I love it. I love having loads of little trinkets.
Well, there you go then. If it makes you happy, then keep doing it. What's the harm, right? It's not hurting anyone, it's puzzles, it's rocks. It makes you happy, makes you, gives you life purpose without sounding too cheesy, right? Were there any specific parts of mentoring that made a real difference? So, for an example, I'm thinking of things like sticking to set days of mentoring, sticking to like particular hours of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very much a creature of habit and schedule. I love doing things at the exact same time every single day. Yeah, that having it at the same time on the same day helped. But also, it was just good for me to get out of the house, because I only ever really would get out of the house one other day of the week to go to my nan's, which changed a little bit now, because I go on walks every now and again. But yeah, no, it's just good for me to get out, good for me to have that routine. Yeah.
Would it be fair to say, and this is not me bigging us up too much, but would it be fair to say that doing your mentoring once a week within your energy window has helped you be able to do things like going out for walks and prepare
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like I'm more confident and comfortable in doing things now than I was at the start of the year. Yeah, it's been really helpful, I think, in that regard.
Yay!
I think it's also good to just have something to spend my social battery on, so that it can like build back up again, because after I left school I didn't do anything for like a year. So it kind of just fell apart. I just had no social battery anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to mention that actually what you were probably experiencing around that time was autistic burnout.
Oh yeah, major burnout.
And that is really difficult to bounce back from.
Honestly, I would say I burnt out when I first started struggling to go to school, so when I was in secondary.
Yeah.
And I just didn't really have a chance to fully recover until I left post-16.
Yeah, so you were just like pushing yourself constantly. It's
yeah,
the masking
and it was
again,
okay in secondary because I had good support and stuff. But like not to shame or anything. The school I went to for post-16, because it was a different school from my secondary, they didn't do anywhere near as good a job as supporting me. They well, just for an example, they had like a card to give me that would let me just leave lesson. They lost it in a drawer for 3 months and didn't tell me. I was like, when are they going to get this thing to me? And me and my mum went and spoke to them about it, and they were like, oh, sorry, we lost it. It's a piece of paper, just give me a piece of paper.
Literally, yeah, it's not that difficult, is it?
Yeah, it was shockingly incompetent.
Yeah, but and without overly pathologising this, like that experience has, in a way, I think, taught you a lot about yourself, right? Like,
yeah.
I would say that having known you and worked with you for the length of time we have, I could say that you are someone who's incredibly self-aware. Yeah. You're very tapped into what you need at that moment. Like, and I know that some of the stuff we've worked on is things like you said, building up your social battery, and building up your confidence. And you've made so much progress,
Definitely.
Which has been amazing to see. But also, without losing that idea of, actually, no, I know who I am, I know what I need, and being able to say, Becca, do you know what? I'm really tired right now. I don't think I'm going to be able to manage today. And, you know, even down to like when you've had other appointments and things throughout the week, when you've said, my energy levels are probably going to be a bit low. I'm not too sure if I'm going to be able to do mentoring this week because I've got loads of stuff going on. Yeah. That's fantastic because you've got such a great self-awareness around what you need.
I think after the misery that was that 1 year of post-16, I'm sort of like, I'm not going to make myself suffer for no reason anymore.
Nope.
I've done that already.
Yep.
And I was so miserable. Yeah. And I don't want to be that miserable again.
No. And I can see a difference in you.
Yeah.
Like, since we've been working together. Speaking of, now I'm saying this in jest, for suffering, I know that shopping is not your favourite thing to do, right? Can we talk about any achievements you're proud of?
Yes.
From mentoring?
I was able to go to the corner shop by myself.
Yes.
I had my mum on the phone, but physically she was not there. I went by myself and I bought myself some milk because there was no milk for my breakfast and I didn't want to have breakfast without a mug of milk. So, because otherwise, how would I dunk my biscuits?
Yeah. Are you able to remember what we did to prepare you?
Yes, we had worked in sort of like steps. Go into the shop with support, you know, and then like a little bit less support to sort of like build up the confidence of going into a shop by myself.
Because I think one of the things we identified quite early on was that your security blanket is people, familiar people. And I say security blanket, you know, again, I don't want that to sound patronising, but that's one of the pillars of support that you need, isn't it? Like,
I love a blanket.
Yeah.
I love a weighted blanket.
I love a weighted blanket as well. Soft ones, brilliant.
Oh, I need it. I can't sleep without it.
Nope, same. So we would walk you to the shops, wouldn't we, from your house? Yeah. So that would be me and our former apprentice, Cam, who may well be listening to this. So we would walk from your house to the shop and back again, and then gradually I would wait outside for you, wouldn't I? And let you go in and order. And if at any point you were like, actually, I can't speak to the shopkeeper today, I'd given you permission to come and find me and give me a thumbs down, because we've got a thumbs up, thumbs down signal. Because one of the other things we identified is sometimes when you're overwhelmed, you're not able to say what you need, which is a very common thing, and it's nothing to be ashamed of at all for anyone who's listening. And actually, I think it's probably very relatable to a lot of the people that we work with.
Yeah, it's difficult to communicate because I'm already so stressed. Mm-hmm. My brain's not really worried about, it's got more important things than speaking.
Yep. And actually, sometimes being able to say, I need to tap out, or even not even saying it, but being able to go, tap out time, Becca, I'm out, I need to finish for the day. Like having that little signal between us. Or even like, now that we've worked together for long enough, I could probably tell body language wise, if you're not engaging very much, I'm like, okay, I think Lucy's probably overwhelmed, let's get her home. I know what the tap out signals are.
That's good, because sometimes I don't realise that I'm struggling as much as I am.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense.
It's good to have people who know me and can recognise what I can't.
Yeah, and for anyone who's listening who's thinking, well, like if I don't know somebody that well, how do I tell? Then non-verbal cues, I think, are a really important thing to pick up on. It goes back to body language, it goes back to just, keeping an eye out, and if somebody has gone non-verbal, maybe they are a bit overwhelmed and they need a time out. Ask them if they want a cup of tea. Do you want to walk and come and get a cup of tea with me? We've done that before, haven't we?
Yeah, I think there are plenty of ways to do it without necessarily drawing attention, which I think is what is the key thing, is if you're struggling, you don't want someone to come over and sort of point that out to everybody around you.
Oh, yeah. No, because then your brain is already in hyper-focused.
You want to do it subtly.
100%. You don't want to draw more attention.
At least for me, I hate the thought of people staring at me and thinking, oh, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. And actually, that's partly why I think having people around you is helpful, because we can be a bit of both a figurative and a literal buffer, right?
Yeah, like a shield.
Like a shield almost. Some could say like a Pokemon shield. Anyway, I'm conscious of time. So if there's anyone listening who's thinking about mentoring, what would you say to them?
Honestly, just give it a try. It might not be for you, but it might be, and you never know until you try, which, coming from me, person who famously doesn't try anything new, I tried a lot of different things to support me and improve myself before this, and none of it worked. But I didn't just immediately write off everything else from that point on. You gotta keep trying, because you never know if it's gonna be right for you.
Yeah, definitely. Just one last thing I wanted to ask is there anybody in particular you'd like to say thank you to? It's because I know that it would mean a lot.
And my dad as well, a little bit, although he did forget about me one time. So
yeah, I think that is a really lovely place to end on, Lucy. So thank you so much. It's been really lovely to chat to you, and I'm sure this will be a really valuable episode.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
Thank you ever so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Start the Conversation. Lucy's story is a reminder that progress doesn't have to be loud or fast to be meaningful. Sometimes it's a routine. Sometimes it's a puzzle. Sometimes it's just walking to the shop for the first time on your own. If you're a young adult listening, or a parent, carer, or professional, we hope this episode has helped you better understand what neurodivergent-informed support can look like in practice. Change happens through understanding, through patience and conversations like this one. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep the conversation going. Thank you for tuning in to Start the Conversation. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and remember, conversations like these help us make a difference, one discussion at a time. If you have any topics you'd like us to cover, or if you'd like to be featured on the show, don't hesitate to reach out. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep the conversation going. Until next time, I'm Lucy. Take care.